Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So Kabam has effectively responded about the Battlegrounds outrage and the calls for boycott. And well, first of all, props to Kabam crashed and for the post and getting it out so quickly. It obviously doesn't address everything, but it is a well-constructed post. I will leave a link to the entire post because obviously it's quite a long one. I'm not going to break it all down. There are fairly few interesting takeaways from this and some good news as well. But first, I will break down more of this post more properly tomorrow because it's like 3 a.m. here and I am getting very, very sleepy. And this popped up. I just had to cover it, however. Kabam crashed, and again, I kind of always like his approach, and I do feel like he's kind of like a level above most of the Kabam employees there. But he does have quite a few interesting revelations for us. Number one, before we get to that, he's gonna discuss problem spaces with Battlegrounds beyond the rewards. And the Battlegrounds meta system design isn't working, and there's quite interesting admission there. When I say Battlegrounds meta system, we're talking about basically everything outside of the match experience itself. And the first admission here. First, the solo and alliance events have never really worked as intended. The original design assumed that while some players would try to game the system, most would play the game mode as intended. That intent being trying to win every match. It hasn't turned out that way, and over time we're seeing more and more players trying to game the system, and well, they call it farming. And I have like zero sympathy here for Kabam, and there is only one very, very simple logical reason why the design of the battlegrounds when it comes to the alliance and solo events never worked. And that is very simple. It is because Elder's Marks exist. Because Kabam wanted to monetize battlegrounds via Elder's Marks. And that immediately gave a way to game the system. If there were no Elder Marks, there would be no point in purposely losing matches and then winning them. You might as well just play all the time and try to win all the time. Right? So whilst I wasn't and I am not a fan of the solo and alliance event structure as it is to begin with, because it rewards grinding, not playing well and ranking high, assuming that they remain and the idea behind, playing as much as possible in Battlegrounds still remains rather than playing as well as you can, that entire problem of farming goes away with Elder's Marks. So do with that what you will, but like here, the design of Battlegrounds meta doesn't work, and because they created Elder's Marks. Second, there is no benefit to pushing later circuit and beyond as soon as you are able, and in general pushing. And that again is entirely up to them. However, they do provide some solutions to this. So Battlegrounds is a niche game mode. This is quite surprising, and it does turn out that Battlegrounds is not overly popular in the grand scheme of things. In a sense that not as many people play Battlegrounds as, let's say, they would play Arena or Lions Quest or, the standard story quest. However, that again kind of minimizes the importance of Battlegrounds, because Battlegrounds is by far and away the most dominant game mode for the competitive and top tier players and the most engaged players. This is also how effectively we looked at every champion in the game, and how some previously popular champions, withered in popularity, and how many of the current meta champions came to be popular. And that immediately affects the entire game, especially when Battlegrounds is also by far and away the most content-driven game mode. It is by far and away the best content for the creators to stream, to engage with their player base via friendlies, or just, try and push. And that again is something that brings in more players, or just puts the game in forefront of players' feeds and so on and so forth. So whilst Battlegrounds might not be the most popular game mode, first of all, I think Battlegrounds could be way more popular if Kabam actually maintained it properly and designed it better. Second of all, despite all of its issues, I still think that Battlegrounds overall in the game is a cornerstone of the game, even if it's not being engaged with by the most amount of players. It's simply because it kind of dominates competitive space, which is also largely, disproportionately spending on the game much, and in general, kind of a public face of the game. But I'm not gonna go into the prioritization of the casual audiences and so forth. We're actually gonna discuss the changes that they have effectively announced, and also the admission that the game is too big. And the game is too big. And they say themselves that it is impossible for them with their current team to keep it updated, because there are too many rewards channels to make them all valuable. There are too many reward channels to keep them updated. There are too many reward channels that we don't want players to feel like they have to do it all, but that also creates many of the rewards being quite meaningful. Other BG specific issues, staleness in match experience, absolutely, because they have made relatively small scoring changes in the match, and that's just about it. Shuffles not working properly, that's, a fairly small problem. Match declines is going to be no longer. Matching times and pausing. So planned changes, this is where it gets interesting. Removal of the solo event. This change is related to restructuring the meta systems. We will be removing the solo event and distributing the reward budget between Victory Track and the Gladiator Circuit, with most of the milestones budget going to the Victory Track and most of the ranked rewards budget going to the GC. It won't be one-on-one mapping rewards, but it will mean both progress in Victory Track and GC are more rewarding. So there's going to be no more solo event after season 28, I believe. That does mean that we will be able to double dip for season 27, because buff to Victory Track rewards, they managed to sneak in this coming season. So it does appear where there is a will, there is a way. It's kind of funny how it happens. When shit hits the fan, then all of a sudden they can do it in like a couple of days. Great. Happy for that. That's a good change. GC rewards overhaul season 28. Yes, this means for the next 2 seasons, the solo event will run alongside buffed Victory Track rewards, allowing players to double dip. Great. Creation of Radiance, a new competitive currency and store. Now this is kind of funny, because a new store is kind of like the last thing that we needed, right? And my suggestion would be here that you need to cut some of the currency, like, I don't know, combine loyalty and glory, or do away with Mysterium, or combine all 3 of those in one, or I don't know. But there's just too many currencies already. But still, in theory, this is not too bad. Creation of Radiance, new competitive currency and store. This change is related to solving the problem above, that the game has become too big. The plan is that the Radiance will eventually replace a substantial portion of ranked rewards in all competitive game modes. This solves all 3 problems I mentioned above. It allows us to control the total reward distribution while better valuing summoner time. It allows us to update the ranked rewards across the game by updating a single store. It allows summoners to choose their own adventure when it comes to which modes they want to be competitive in and which they don't. I like that. That kind of makes sense. Because, overall, for instance, if Alliance War mainly awarded Radiance and not much else, and same as AQ and same as Battlegrounds, then you can easily focus on which game mode to push. And the rewards disparity, where currently, for instance, Alliance War is updated and it's insanely important and significantly more rewarding than Battlegrounds and everything else, that kind of goes away with that. So I like it. Introducing this currency also helps future-proof the ecosystem, as we are working on another major mode with competitive components. Would love to hear that. GC rewards overhaul season 28, AQ and AW to follow later this year. New objectives to reward pushing higher, faster. I love this. This is a very good idea. This change is related to solving the issue of lack of incentive to play Battlegrounds early in the season to create a more even matchmaking experience. Because currently that is the problem, because a lot of endgame players just start playing Battlegrounds in like week 3 properly, or 4, and then they climb to their C6, C5 level and stay there. But along the way they are destroying people you know, in Victory Track and lower tiers of Gladiator Circuit, because yeah, they just either don't have the time or don't want to play the battlegrounds, let's say, stable and steadily. Like, I try to get to Gladiator Circuit in like first couple of days. Many people just do it by end of the month. And, you know, that does mess with matchmaking. Not that you can blame a person for not playing the game more, but this creates an extra incentive, for instance, for reach the Gladiator Circuit by end of week 1, reach 100 rating on Gladiator Circuit by end of week 2, reach 200 rating on Gladiator Circuit by end of week 3, and that gives you extra rewards. I love that idea, so it rewards activity. I like that a lot. Target timeline season 28, okay. Restructure Victory Track to make it easier to gain progress, good. That's a great change. Rating decay, awesome change as well, where basically if you do not play for X amount of time, you start losing points, and that will kind of like deal with parking. New ELO tuning and matchmaking settings, so they are going to work on matchmaking. That's also quite nice. Restructure Gladiator Circuit rank buckets. This is awesome. With more incentive to push and the more changes to Victory Track medal economy, we expect many more players to reach Gladiator Circuit. And then again, restructure basically the tiers. Good. Experiment with new match formats. It could be interesting, and they should have done this a long time ago. The current format will be named Standard Battlegrounds, and we intend to create new formats and experiment with them across seasons. Things we'll be exploring include dramatically different scoring parameters, different deck sizes, different band structures, and more. Love that. Should have done it from the get-go. This should have happened, like, you know, 6 months after Battlegrounds got released. Timeline later this year. Great. Seeding review. Fair enough. Remove the match accept flow. Finally, they are getting rid of the decline button. Right. It should have never existed in the first place. Fix shuffle signets where you can get repeats on champions. Great. So, final thoughts. I said we didn't prioritize Battlegrounds last year, so why it is in focus now? I'm confident in our playbook to engage the players we focused on last year. With this playbook, with the imminent changes to both event quest and side quest coming, I believe it's time to refocus on our competitive ecosystem. What about Alliance event? For now, we are going to leave that untouched. What about pausing? There's nothing they can do. And finally, while I mentioned we intend to explore new scoring formats, we hear community's feedback that the change announced for this season was not a positive one. Since we decided to tinker with the season 27 settings to update the Victory Track rewards, we decided to also revert the change to the scoring. Awesome. So, Kabam, not going to change the scoring, which was a very stupid thing to do. There will be better rewards for season 27, at the very least in Victory Track, which again is something that should have happened. And there are quite a few good things happening in future. For me, though, I love it. I'll believe it when I see it. We actually need to see the rewards updates and everything else. Therefore, this post is definitely appreciated, and I like that Kabam wrote it. I think it's a very good post. I think I can break it down further and talk about more specific topics, which I will tomorrow. But overall, I'm still not spending. Love what they've done here, but this doesn't mean that everything's okay, because it isn't. As Kabam Crash himself said here, before I get into it, I want to say that I won't be talking about bugs, gameplay issues, or anything else like that. The team's currently working on a post about the AI, and that is just as big of a reason for not spending as Battlegrounds is. Like Alliance quest rewards, like the AI issues, like the bugs, like the issues with nightmare raids, Kabam's general attitude. And well, before anything, we actually need to see the changes to the rewards in Battlegrounds. So I like this post. I hope Kabam puts in good amount of work and does it properly to make this game more fun and enjoyable for more players. But they haven't done it yet. They have said that they will, but actions speak louder than words. So we'll see what happens. But I'm glad there's movement. I'm glad there's some communication. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about